Hi, I am really excited for this video today. And the reason I'm excited for this video is mainly just because I'm so freaking proud of myself. Last week marked my 20th video that I uploaded. And I know that may not sound like a big deal, but first of all, let's pause for me just because I am such a wild card that this is something I'm actually determined to stick with. I'm enjoying it, and I am just really, really proud of myself that I have successfully completed 20 videos. So I thought in order to celebrate 20 videos, I will let you guys a little bit more into my world and give you 20 random slash fun slash personal facts about me. So if you want to stick around and find out a little bit more about your girl, stay tuned. Let's get into it. Hope you're ready. So these are in no particular order, but I just thought I would just dive in. So, number one, I was actually born in Germany. And I don't know if I've told that or not on this before, but I was born in Germany and my parents were in, well, my dad was in the military. And I absolutely loved everything about living there. I was born there, then we moved back to the States, I think when I was like 6 months old. And then we moved back to Germany when I was younger. We lived there for about 3.5 years, I want to say, and then we moved back to the States when I was 10 or 11, maybe 10. So yeah, I was born in Germany, and no, I'm not German. And people ask me that. I had dual citizenship, so I was 18, but I, jerked around, didn't fulfill my contract and fill all that stuff out, so I didn't actually keep it. So, but yeah, fun fact, I was born overseas. Number two. So the reason I wanted to say this is because I get this question a lot, and I think it really just depends on how I do my hair or what I'm wearing that day or how I do my makeup that day. But a lot of people want to know what my ethnicity is or what my race is. So and I know this might confuse a lot of family members that I actually have, but just go with it. The story gets better. I am Spanish, Portuguese, Mexican, and Native American. So, and I have DNA to prove it. I have the 23andMe. I printed it all out before I went in and canceled my shit before they sold it off. So, but yes, I am those four things. Plus, I'm a lot of like 1 and 2%ers of other things, but really that's the main makeup of my genetics. And which kind of brings me into number three. When I was 28 years old, my mother came to me and told me that I had a different biological father. I'm the product of like a light affair. It wasn't really a one night stand. It wasn't really a full blown affair. So it was like a affair esque. So yeah, I'm the product of that. And that kind of sent me on a journey to figure out who I was and what my makeup was and who my real father was. And I mean, don't get it twisted. The man who raised me was my father, was my dad. So this guy's my biological dad, but my dad raised me and I'm proud of that. So, but yes, that's why I have Mexican descent and other things, but a lot of my family doesn't even know that. So you're welcome. It's kind of personal. Number four. My parents, even though my dad was in the military, my parents were both born and raised in a small town in Colorado, on a reservation in Colorado. And I didn't grow up there as a young child per se. I was there every summer and spring break and anytime my parents could get rid of us. But I was kind of a wild child, so I really didn't go as much as my brother and sister. But yeah, when I was 12, we moved back there to the reservation, and I lived there ever since until I moved here to Arizona. So that's where I was before this, a reservation in Colorado. That's where my roots are from, too. Number five, I call this my superpower. And a lot of people know that I'm ADHD. Like, it's no secret. I talk about it religiously just because it's a part of who I am. It's not like I talk about my disability. I never ever looked at it like a disability. I mean, I've cried about it several times because of my brain is wired differently. But what a lot of people don't know is that I'm actually dyslexic, and I struggled really bad with reading and learning how to read when I was a young girl. So badly that I actually had to have a private tutor come in to our home 3 times a week. My parents even built out like a specialty room for me because of the ADHD. If kids were running in and out, my brother, sister had people over, I wouldn't pay attention. So they had to like put me somewhere where it was quiet and I could focus. And she was amazing. and her daughter had the same name as me, so she would bring me little, like, tchotchkes and knickknacks that had my name on it, and she was just really sweet. But yeah, I struggled for a long time, and she really helped me turn my life around. The reason I consider it a superpower is really just that, because I never let it uh, define me, and I never let people think I was unintelligent because of it. So yeah, fun fact about me. Number 6. So despite having those disabilities, or I don't look at them that way, but despite having what I have, I actually freaking love public speaking. Like, it's one of my favorite things to do. And honestly, I could be a professional public speaker if I wanted to, or not if I wanted to, like if that was a route I ever took. Which I know it's like the number one fear in the world is public speaking, like weird over heights and water and sharks and all that. But it's a really big fear for some people. It's not mine. I actually was not born with a shy bone in my body. So I love public speaking. And if you put a microphone in front of me in a crowd, I'm at my happy place. So I know it's more of a weird fact than a fun fact, but it's a part of who I am. Number 7. I lived overseas, but when we were in the States, I actually lived in 6 different states as a kid. I was constantly changing schools and everything. Uh, but yeah, I lived in 6 different states, soon to be 7. I remember I said there's a lot of moving parts that are be going on in my life. As you can tell, there's some blank walls going on back here because, we've got some stuff going on, and I'll share that. It's a story for another day, and I'll share that story and that journey as we go. But yeah, so I've lived in 6 different states, soon to be 7, and I'm almost addicted to moving. Well, not at this old age. At this old age, me and my bones are like, enough is enough. But I became addicted to moving because of it. So I always wanted to move somewhere different. Even if it was in the same city, I wanted to live in a new home. Or if not, I would change my furniture every year just to feel like it was a new space. So yeah, I just kind of got me addicting to being like a little moving bug. I don't know. All right. Number 8. As far as my family goes, I am married. I have 2 beautiful children, and I have 2 amazing grandkids, and one amazing, so lucky to have her, daughter-in-law. And my son is 29. My daughter, who is my bonus daughter, is 21. And then I have 2 granddaughters, and then I have, like I said, the most amazing daughter-in-law in the world. Honestly, I couldn't have been more blessed. She keeps us all in line, but also it's just the sweetest human ever. So I got very, very lucky to get her. So yeah, that's my immediate family. You're not ready for the rest of it because it's just too much. There's not enough paper in the world for those. But it's huge. Number 9. So I'm a huge animal lover. That is not a secret for me, but I have 3 different specific types of favorite animals, and all for different reasons. So my first one is a turtle. I've always been obsessed with turtles. And the reason I think I'm in love and obsessed with turtles is because I'm fascinated by them, because I have a brain that moves 1,000 times a minute, and I'm more like the hare, more like the rabbit. So I'm really fascinated as how they can just go at their own pace. They don't give a shit what anybody says. They're not worried about their outside world. They're just doing their own little thing. And then when they're not wanting to deal with you, they just go back in their shell, or they're just like, please get away from me. I aspire to be a turtle. I'm the opposite of that. So I really have always just been in love with them. And the second animal is otters. I love otters. They're so sweet and so cuddly, and they like love. And I am super affectionate. It's my favorite thing. I'm such a cuddle bug and such a lover, that I almost annoy people. Like a hugger and everything. But yes, I love otters because they're just so cuddly and affectionate, and they really are just like lovers. I love that about them. And then my third, because it's like my mixed personality, I freaking love birds. Birds are so fascinating to me because they're like little thugs in the sky, like little gangsters, right? Like the Al Capones of the sky. And I love them. If you've ever sat and watched birds, which I know sounds boring to some people, but it's quite fascinating to me because they are mean. They're thugs, and they don't even give a shit. That's like the Crips and the Bloods in the sky, and it's just crazy to watch. But yeah, so those are my favorite animals. Number 10. I I am such a history nerd, but I've said that before. What I haven't said though is like I love the Victorian age. I love just that style and how they dressed and how they presented their snobby little selves. I'm also super obsessed with French pavilion style furniture and just which is obviously not the same thing, but I just love that antique slash modern look. Like I try to incorporate those two worlds, but I just loved how everything was like the Gilded Ages were like so decadent and just so elegant. And I just love everything about that. So if there's a movie or a TV show or anything, a documentary, anything based off of the like a period piece, I'm all over it. All over it. That's who I am. My favorite movie to date is Pride and Prejudice. Favorite, hands down, no matter what. Pride and Prejudice. Because I'm a lover and I also love period pieces. This next one, number 11. it's it's a really funny story now. It wasn't always a funny story. I mean, it was always funny to me, but I was hit by a car when I was 14. But reason it's funny is because my brother was actually the one driving the car. So I told you I was a wild kid. I was kind of just, a couple ticks off. And my brother and I were playing chicken in the road. He was driving and I was standing in the middle of the road, egging him on. And of course, I mean, technically, I didn't lose. I won that match. But technically, I lost at life because of it. I had a torn ACL, lateral meniscus. I've had 3 reconstructive surgeries, and technically, on paper, I'm considered disabled. And I deal with this pain every day of my life. But it's funny because it's just like a crazy story. Like, who says that? It wasn't even like we were being mean to each other. We were just being stupid. And he really wasn't trying to hit me. He was going to swerve to miss me, but there was a semi coming. So it was either hit that head on, but he got nervous and swerved back to me and hit me head on. I caused a lot less damage to the car, but you know, it is what it is. So yeah, my brother hit me with the car. But the reason I wanted to tell you that is because I was a makeup artist for a long time and I couldn't stand anymore. Like my knee was getting worse and worse. And so I didn't want to leave beauty, so I had to find a job where I could still like sit, but also be in the beauty industry, which led me to nails. So that's kind of where the story took me, and I'm okay with that. So, yeah, funny fact about me. 12. My favorite language in the whole wide world is French. Shocker. I love that sexy little language so much. I'm not even sure why I like it so much. It's like an aggressive, sexy, passionate language, and I'm all about that. But also, really love ASL. I really would love to learn ASL. Sign language is such a beautiful language to me, also. I mean, I don't want to say beautiful because I know it's a necessary language, but there's something about it that just intrigues me. So, my goal probably one day is to learn Spanish and ASL. French, I just felt like my brain couldn't wrap its little head around that. So, we're going to put that one to the side. You know what I mean? Never going to do it. Number 13. I am also obsessed with crime shows. Like murder, everything. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with it. Like, I could never be in the criminal justice like career because I'm too sensitive for it. But I'm obsessed with it. Like I literally have had that TVs on some days for like all day on ID channel, forensic files, anything that's a documentary, a TV show, a movie, anything about missing people, murder, all these things. I've always been obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with figuring it out. So, maybe in my past life I was a detective, I'm not sure. But either way, obsessed with crime shows, anything crime. And I would love to do like a podcast on crime and just start deep diving into some of these things. But I don't know if that's like my fit. I don't really know how to get started with that. And I'm sure I could figure it out. But one horse at a time. You know what I mean? I don't know if beauty's gonna keep going or whatever. Like who knows? Like I said, no gift left behind. No, anything I want to do, I'm gonna do it. So who knows? One day, maybe. We'll see. Number 14. I'm a girl's girl. Like I'd rather be in a room full of 100 catty females than 3 dudes any day. I just love being around female energy. I think we are the most amazing creatures on this planet. I just think of the things that our bodies can do and that our minds create and how strong we have to be as humans. I hate that we don't get enough credit in the world because we're fucking fascinating, amazing creatures. And if you're watching this and you're a female, you are one of the most perfect humans. And I'm just so proud that I get to be a female in this lifetime. Like, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I'm a girl's girl. And if I see, like, I'm not one of those girls that likes to be around like popular mean girls. Never been my jam. Like, first of all, ew, stop it, gross. If I see a female that's shy or, feeling excluded or a recluse, like, I am making a beeline for that girl right away just because I want them to feel included and I want them to feel special and like they matter in this world. And if they're shy, like, my brain is so fascinated with that. Like, shy people intrigue me because I don't know how to do that. Like, I don't know how to be quiet. I don't know how to shut my mouth and be still. And they can just be so mysterious, right? I love that about them. So, randomly, I am a girl's girl, but yeah, I love females. So I wish we were just all kinder to each other. That's my one wish. Yeah. Number 15. My favorite hobby. And I enjoy doing this by myself. I enjoy doing this with another person, my husband, whoever. I love going to the movies. Like, I could be in a theater every single day. I could do back-to-back movies. I just love being in a theater. And I never wanted to work in one because then I would like turn me off of it, right? I just love getting lost in the movies. And I just knew from a young age I was going to be an actress and do something on film because I was so fascinated by it. But yeah, that's my absolute favorite hobby to do. If ever I'm sad, I go to the movies. If I'm excited, let's go to the movies. Like, it's really my emotional escape and my emotional support is getting lost in film. So love, love, love going to the movies. We do it 1,000 times a day if I could. Okay, so I said some of these were going to be vulnerable, and the next few are going to be very vulnerable, but it is what it is, and it's part of who I am, and I am who I am. So I just thought, I'm opening up, I'm letting you into my world, and I gotta share the good with the bad, or the interesting with the weird. Number 16. This next one, like I said, is vulnerable. But I was pregnant at 15 years old. And yeah, I was pregnant at 15. I delivered my child at 16. And I know most people clutching their pearls right now, but a lot of people know this about me that are close to me. And maybe some people don't know how young I was, but yeah, I was 15 when I got pregnant. And, again, that's a story for another day, but I was very blessed. And, at the end of the day, there's only two things I would do differently at that time. And that was had more patience with myself and my son, and also just be a better mom in general. I was young and we grew up together, and so we were figuring it out a lot of the times. Not we, I mean, at the end of the day, and the bottom line is he saved my life. He saved my soul. Him and I are so connected, and he is the best thing that ever happened to me until he started extending his family. And my cup runneth over when it comes to my baby boy. And I know they say like, oh, your children choose you before you even get to this world. Sometimes I'm like, maybe you should have gotten in a different line. But however, like, you chose me, and I only hope that in this lifetime I could be the best mom I can at that version of myself. As I go forward, I try to be an amazing mom now, and I really strive to keep going to be, I'll never be perfect, but we were young, or I was, him's father and I were young and figuring out life, and out of all that, we got the biggest blessing in the world. And he is an amazing young soul, and he's pretty special. So I beam when I talk about him because I love him so much, and I'm so blessed to have him. I mean, I'm blessed to have my whole family, but this was different because being pregnant at 15 is never an easy thing to do, say out loud, or experience. It's honestly, I couldn't even imagine 15-year-olds nowadays doing it because most of them are just not like we were back in the day. No offense, but yeah. So I was pregnant at 15. I delivered my baby at 16, and he's been the love of my life ever since. Even, I know I have other loves, but that one's pretty special. So, yeah. Number 17. So because I was a young mother, story time real quick, I had a teacher who was an absolute dick, and he always he got joy out of seeing me struggle and suffer. And he would come for me and had his foot on my neck every chance he could. And he knew I hated him, so he would almost like we would go back and forth. Honestly, it was kind of awkward and embarrassing to the rest of the class because I didn't stand down, and neither did he. Anywho, he told me one day that I wouldn't amount to anything. And let me tell you, instead of getting mad, I gave him a special place in my heart. And I still keep him a special place in my heart because I knew at that point I had something to prove. And it wasn't just to prove his ass wrong, it was really just to prove that nobody gets to determine my worth but the man upstairs and the person in my soul. So between us two, that's the only people that get to determine what my worth is. And my worth I determined a while ago because it took me a long time to know my worth, remember? I just wasn't going to let him tell me what that was. And so I strived. Now, bringing that to my number 17 thing is I am a singer. Everybody knows I'm a singer. But I had my first recording contract when I was 22 years old. And yeah, I was with an indie label here in Phoenix, and I was performing all over, from the hole in the wall places to just, parks and beach parks and in LA, and going to House of Blues. And I know I've told that story before, but why that's relevant is because I really could have gone far with that career had I not protected my soul. And what I mean by that is that contract never really finished a life. Like it never. I was able to get out of my contract, I should say, because there was a lot of shady shit going on behind the scenes. And I had went to school for music, and so I knew a lot about the contracts and how shady they could be. But this was an indie label, and so the terms weren't so bad. But, however, one of the producers was married, and he was also the head of the label. Yeah, and there was a lot of sexual harassment. There was a lot of kind of a quid pro quo situations going on, and your girl was just not about that life. I was not about to do something strange for a little change just to get ahead in music, because at the time I was doing very well for myself at my job. I didn't need the money at all, and I wasn't a starving artist, so it wasn't important to me to give my soul away and compromise my soul just to get ahead in the industry. And I know that a lot of people have done that, and that's no shade or shame to them. It just wasn't what I was willing to do because I either didn't want it bad enough or I just wasn't struggling enough. But who knows where that's going to lead still. My life is not over yet. So who knows where I'm going to go with music, and I'm still working on that behind the scenes. But yeah, so I had my first recording contract, and it just didn't work out for a lot of reasons. And he even threatened to sue me and all the things. And I said, I wish you would, because I will see you in court because I have a lot of evidence of other things. And that's when he was able to let me out of my contract. So I say that to say, stand up for yourself. Don't compromise your soul. Believe in what you believe and go forth with it, but do it with integrity. So that's why I never got into a huge contract or even even had an album released or anything. So there's that. But number 18, the reason I did know about the music industry is because I'm actually a certified recording engineer. What that means is when they're behind the board doing all the knobs and stuff, that's a recording engineer. They set up all the microphones, they set up all the things, they do live sound, they do all kinds of things. I went to school for that, and I didn't really love it, but I learned a lot and had a lot of great networking opportunities there. And, I would walk around school and sing and stuff, and when people would be in the booths and stuff, I would sing, and they're like, dang girl, like you can really sing. And so, they were introducing me to other people, which is how I got introduced to the indie label owner and some really dope producers. I also met my teacher. His name was Jerry Fingres, and he was amazing. He actually wrote that song, like, I wish I were a little bit taller. I wish I were a baller. He wrote that song, and he sold it for $10,000. That was it. Like no rights, no royalties, no nothing. And so that guy ended up going off to make millions off that song. And so Jerry was like, I don't want this to happen to you. So he really helped me study, contract law and all that stuff when I was in school. So yeah, that was in my early ages. And again, once I figured out, because then I went into my deal and realized how shady the industry was, I was like, pass. So that's number 18. Number 19. And I've struggled if I wanted to even tell you guys this one, but I'm just going to do it because it is what it is. It's part of who I am. But when I was little, I could actually see, I could see spirits. I could see entities, if you will. Um, I didn't know any different though. I didn't know that they weren't real until I got older. I didn't realize that. Like, you know how they say you have imaginary friends? Well, some of those imaginary friends were actually things I could see. And then, when you get made fun of or you get laughed at enough, you're just like, maybe this isn't right. But the blessing is I was always protected from something. Like I never ever could see the bad spirits or the negative energies and entities. I could feel them, I could hear things, but I could never see them. I don't know. I was protected from that. I don't know how or why. I only would see ones that were not harmful, like little kids and older souls, but I could never see like negative. But I'm very, very, very sensitive to energy and very hypersensitive to, um, you know, people's energies and different things going on. And I actually have a lot of intuition, so I still to this day can feel or predict when something's going to happen, and not all the time. It's like not an everyday occurrence, but I also can really, really tell when somebody's soul is very tortured. And the issue with that is that sometimes I would just go to those people and try to heal them when it wasn't my job to heal them, and shed light on them. But not all of them are ready to receive that. And I got taken advantage a lot when I was little. And, it is what it is. Again, it's a part of my story. But yeah, so I could see spirits and I'm very sensitive to energies and stuff like that. So if you have a kid that you know is like that, nurture them and don't make fun of them because you never know what somebody's senses are going through. People are heightened in different ways in different fields. So get to know what's going on versus just brushing it off like, oh, don't be stupid or whatever. So, yeah. And number 20, the final fact. I thought I'd just share this because some people always want to know, like, what would you be doing if you weren't doing beauty? And that's kind of a twofer because I either wanted to go into the fashion field or I wanted to go into the psychology field. And that could be any way. Like, I wanted to be like a life coach or sit with people because I don't want to go to school for that. That's way too many years of school for me. Pass. I admire people that do it. It's not for me to go to school that long. I don't have it in me. But fashion has always been my thing. Like I can't emphasize that enough. So in a small town that I came from, like a really itty bitty small reservation town that I came from, where the dress code was either Ropers or Rockies or all black, I showed up and it was always in go-go boots and fishnet stockings and like I had wigs and different things going on. And it just, I always dressed to the nines and I always stood out in a crowd, definitely. And trust me, they made fun of me, they did all the things, but also they were just like, the audacity, why is she wearing those? Because I fucking want to. I was who I was and I wasn't going to apologize for it. I always followed fashion trends and like tried to learn things but also made it my own. And then even as a young girl, and like when we were going to the clubs and stuff, like I would be like, well, I don't want to wear what other people have in the club. So I would run to the store and be like, I need this fabric, and I would come home and be like, Mom, I need you to sew me a dress for the club tonight. And my mom would do it. And so I would always be going to the club with different random like bootleg outfits on, but I just have always been into fashion. So I would probably went to school to go learn how to sew and do that so I could make my own outfits. Or I would be some kind of life coach. So yeah, there's that. And that's 20 random fun facts about your girl. And I hope you enjoyed them. I hope you learned a little bit more about me. And who knows? I'm just, again, really grateful for this journey that I'm on. And I'm excited to see where it continues to take me. And for each of you that watch my videos, even though I know they're long, and I'm trying to go into like a shorter form, but this one needed to be long for a reason. So, yeah, I think at 50 videos or 40 video, whatever, I don't know. When I get to that point, I'll do something special. Maybe I'll do a giveaway or something. But either way, I love you all and thank you for hanging out with me and thank you for being a part of my journey. And I hope you learned something about me that you like. So I love you all and I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. And I'll talk to you soon.